Okay, in this lesson, we're going to make these little lamps that hang off the front of the train boiler. So we're going to go left viewport again, and I'm going to do is select all, hide selected, and because the blueprint is frozen, it remains. It doesn't get selected. So now we have a better view of what we're making. And what we're going to do now is create. We're going to use a tube cap again. Told you I like this primitive, it's really good. Kind of in the center of the little circle here. I'm going to drag out, hit F3 if you can't see it, and then let go, inset a little bit. There we go. That looks good. Let's make them 8 polygons, 8 segments each. So now we'll convert that to edit poly by right-clicking on tube cap. List comes up, edit poly, and perspective viewport. And I'm going to just take that out this way a little bit so I can see a little better. F4 so I can see the wireframe. Okay, I'm going to clone that by shifting and dragging the whole object, not to an instance, I'm going to do it to a copy. Okay, and then I'm going to rotate, turn on my angle snaps. Let's rotate it 180 degrees so we don't have normals in different directions. You can see the backside is black, it would cause some problems. Okay, and what I want to do is try to have that spaced roughly the distance that it is wide. So a little further than that. We can adjust this later. I'm going to take this selected edit poly, I'm going to attach this one to it. So we have 2. Attach. Click on the other object. You'll see they're both now highlighted with a white wireframe. We're going to go to the rotate tool. Let's affect pivot only. Affect pivot only button, center to object, turn off affect pivot. And again, we're going to use the rotate tool. I'm going to hold shift down, angle snaps are active. Rotate this till it's 90 degrees. There it is. As a copy, okay. Okay. And now what I'm going to do is, we're going to attach this object to the other. And we're going to go into element. Now we can move these a little so we have better spacing. Just a little space between the end of these two and the beginning of these two. So I'm going to move this one out a little bit more. We're going to do the same right here. We're going to select that one, move it forward. This one, I'm going to move it back. Okay. And now I'm going to take 2 of them, select them. We're going to use the rotate tool and we're going to shift, rotate. See, now that didn't work, so that's okay. Undo. And what we're going to do now is just select one, move tool, shift and drag it upward to an element is fine. Let's use rotate and rotate that 90 degrees, just like that. Okay, and then we're going to move it. Let's go to top viewport. We want to kind of center it amongst the other meshes, and we do have it right there, just a touch more that way. Perspective again. Okay, zoom in, Z. Let's drop it down. And let's once again shift and drag that whole mesh down to the bottom as an element. Let's rotate it 180 degrees as it is right there. Okay, so now we have all these little circular openings. What we want to do is I'm going to actually isolate this, Alt and Q. We want to sew this up so it's one big mesh and it has all these little openings where the lights and candles or whatever they put in there go. So we're going to go to Edge Sub-Object Level. And what I'm going to do is get the Bridge tool right here. We'll click on Bridge, click an edge, click the next edge, and we're going to go around and just do this process. Because the meshes are the same edge counts or poly counts, should be pretty easy to align these edges and bridge between them, which is what I'm doing right here. Okay, and just continue this process all the way around the mesh. It's going to kind of leave a few triangle openings, but it's okay. We're not worried about that right now. Bridge works really well. It's really interactive. I used to use it a lot more than I do now because tools have changed. So I have other preferences, but there we go. So we pretty much sealed that up except for the openings that we want to leave and these little triangle openings. So what we're going to do is click off bridge, go to border. Let's select all the triangles. They're open selections, they're borders. Okay, do the same at the bottom. And we're going to cap these off once we have them all selected. Cap. There we go. Let's go to the top of the edit poly. Let's add a turbo smooth. Hit T on your keyboard 3 times, enter. Okay, and you can see a little segmented, we can up it to 2. That's the basic shape. The triangles really aren't bothersome. When they divide by the algorithm, the turbo smooth, they actually become quads. Again, if you feel that you technically have to have quads everywhere, then there are ways to do it. I think in some instances it's really not necessary. But if you want them, let me just show you a quick way to do this. Let's go to the edge subobject level, select an edge, this crossing edge right here, and if we Alt and R for ring selection, we have those 3 edges selected. We can now go to Graphite Modeling Tools, and we can go to Edges. We can connect, or we have in loops, Flow Connect. If we hit Auto Ring for future use, you can select one edge and it will connect all the edges in that ring automatically. But for now, we're just going to use Flow Connect and click it. And what Flow Connect does is rather than make a flat surface, it determines the average between these 2 edges, what it would do if it were subdivided, the shape it would make, and it tries to maintain that shape. So what we want to do is do that on all the other corners where we have the 3-sided polygon. Alt and R and Flow Connect. So again, loops, click on Flow Connect. And what you'll see now is that those triangles are now 4-sided triangles. So if you're stuck on having quad meshes, P for perspective, Z for zoom, you now have a quad mesh. Okay, turn off turbo smooth. What I want to do is make these opening areas more pronounced. So what I'm going to do is do some quick edge selections. One there, all the way around. Every border where we have that little rim, we're going to do an edge selection. Alt and R to ring select. They're all selected. We're going to go to connect. And in connect, we're going to make 2 segments, maybe a little bit of a pinch to it. You can see pinch on the gray little section here. It tells you what each thing does. Let's slide that out a bit. I like the way that looks. I hit OK. And let's go back up. Turbo smooth on. F4 to hide the wire. There you go. You have a cool housing. That'll hold some lights inside and just looks like something from the period. The last thing I think we should do is maybe, rather than using shell this time, maybe we'll just quickly go in and shift these little borders back a little. So shift, drag, just a little lip. We're going to cover them anyway, but just adds a little something, a little depth. So I'm just going around, and I'm not even paying attention right now because these are going to be hidden to the distance I'm doing. I'm just trying to keep it consistent, but not so concerned that they're perfect with each other. And one more. That one I did not get right, so I'm going to just come down here. There we go. Okay, once again F4 to turn off the wire, turbo smooth it, and there you go. So you have the base body of the light, the little lamp. We're going to make these little round doors and a mounting plate for these, and we're going to do that in the next video. So right now I'm going to pause the video, and we'll continue in the next.